Hey, thanks for joining us, everyone. This is the LFGRX podcast. I'm Trevor Hall. I'm here with my co-founder and CEO, Andrew Towers, and we are joined today by Vaughn Vernon. He is the founder and owner of Affiliate Guard Insurance Services, and we're going to have a conversation about microgym insurance and fitness insurance, and kind of get into all the things that go with the risk involved in this venture or these ventures. Thanks for joining us, Vaughn.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're happy to have you on the podcast.
Hell yeah. It's a top G in the industry.
Oh yeah.
Top G.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, this is our second recording of this podcast. We lost,
we're dialed, dude.
we lost connection the last time, and so we get to do this again. I feel kind of awkward asking you again, but go ahead and give me your background and tell me kind of about how Affiliate Guard started, and kind of go into what Affiliate Guard's doing right now and what you see in the next 3 to 5 years.
Sure. So we're a family-owned insurance agency. I started working in this godforsaken industry in 2000. So my background was construction. So when I got into insurance, I just used all of my contacts from doing construction for so long. That was my book of business. And so what would have been 2005-ish. I have done jiu-jitsu for years and still do it. Old habits die hard. And I ended up busting my foot at jiu-jitsu. And it freaking took so long to get better. So I went to go renew the gym owner's insurance policy, and he was nice enough to mention how much weight I gained from my freaking injury, right? And it's at that time it was CrossFit, right? So started drinking that Kool-Aid boy, and I just saw an opportunity, and I got together with my underwriters, and I'm like, look, I just have a feeling this is going to be a thing. With this modality of fitness, this is all new, barbells, freaking Fran, all the things, right? And we got together and made a program. And it's so funny with just the small thinking back in the day with the hindsight thing, right? So I was telling my right arm is Kristen. Telling Chris, I'm like, once we hit 250 policies, let's just hit cruise control and maintain them. Well, 9 months later, we hit 250. Like, oh shit, let's start hiring, we do all things gym. It's this industry, one constant is change. That's the bottom line. We deal with a lot of different aspects of this business model where the gym owner gets to see people's lives improve, health improve. That 6 inches in between your ears gets better, when your body's moving and stuff. Where with us, we get to see really what happens in the trenches when shit hits the fan, right?
Yeah.
So, man, we've pretty much seen anything and everything come across my desk as far as claims go. And I was telling Andrew, I've earned every one of these damn gray hairs on my beard. It's crazy. Like, I've always had this mentality in the fitness industry. If someone gets injured, flesh and bone ain't cheap to fix. If you bang your car up, a fender, that's cheap to fix, right? Mm-hmm. The shitty thing about insurance, guys, the shitty thing about it is you don't know how good your insurance is until you need to use it. Mm-hmm. So these insurance companies, believe it or not, the only thing they love more than money is money. That's the game. They're so good at making money. These insurance companies are going to tell you, look, everything's covered. We got you. Unless it is excluded. These guys are excluding Ninja. So that's the part of the policy that I always try to educate my clients on looking at is the exclusion section. So I'll just break down a couple quick exclusions that could cripple you as a business owner.
Yes.
Right. So it's called I'm going to go freaking insurance geek nerd here on you guys. So
100%. Send it.
Do it. Yeah. We love it.
So they got what's called a designated premise exclusion. So what that means is your liability only covers you in your four walls. If you go outside and do a run, if you want to go throw down in the park, whatever, now you're the insurance company, right? So that's a big one. Another exclusion I see all the time is excluding trainers. So I've come to find like the lion's share of my book of business is 1099. Everybody's a 1099. That's the game. So these carriers won't extend liability to these 1099 trainers. So if someone gets banged up during a workout and they get sued and these attorneys want to come after the trainer and there's that exclusion on the policy, that's going to be a shitty conversation to have with your trainer. Like, you're not covered. You need to get your own attorney now, right? Where, the good policies will extend that liability to that said trainer. Youth. I mean, there's carriers out there that anybody like 12 and under, I see that. 18 and under, I see that. They exclude that as well. So if a kid gets banged up and you get pissed off mama bear coming after you to sue you, and there's no coverage. Now, when I say coverage, let's go down that rabbit hole for 2 seconds. So like with my programs, my carriers that are underneath my flag. So if you get sued for a bodily injury claim, that means when I say coverage, that means we supply you with our legal counsel.
Mm-hmm.
So all that huge legal bills off your shoulders, and that taps out at $1 million per occurrence. So $1 million per claim. Now, another thing I see a lot is carriers. Some of these carriers don't like homemade equipment. So if you're making your plow boxes or pegboards or whatever, they don't like that stuff either. Kitty corners are a thing too. If you do have a kitty corner, that's great. Just got to have procedures in place. Anybody that is right and hurt on the kids, have a background check on them. Please don't leave those kids unattended. We don't need Lord of the Flies going on up in the gym.
Yep.
Kids are not allowed unattended on the floor. That's a big one. So just food for thought on that. Now, I could spend the rest of this time talking about landlords as they are the damn devil. It looks like we're not going to be going down that with this model with home-based gym.
Some do. To be clear, some people do.
Okay, so
some do have. Yep. One of our affiliates actually has a landlord.
Just going to mention that.
Yep.
So let's talk about that for 2 seconds. We're in right now, conservatively, probably 10 different claims where the landlord's infrastructure has caused the loss. Like, they don't maintain the roof, they get a bad storm come in, a whole bunch of water goes in, your matting's all moldy now, barbells are rusted out, whatever. And it's on the lease that landlord's responsible for the maintenance on the building. They go, no, we're not going to cover it. Your insurance needs to pay for it, which is complete and utter horse shit. So it's stuff like that on the leases that really need to be addressed. I do a ton of business with Matthew Becker at Gym Lawyers. He does a hell of a job reviewing all that stuff to make it more of a two-sided relationship versus a bad one, right? So, yeah. I mean, you got other guys too with like the HVAC system. Yeah, you have to maintain it. That's normal. But if it gets damaged or anything of that nature, that has to be insured separately. And 9 times out of 10, landlord don't have that on his policy. We need to add that on as a separate rider on the policy.
Do you find that for residential? Because I know that you guys underwrite or you work with home gym and home gym owners to insure home gyms. Is that something that you run into as well with home gyms?
No. Home gyms are, in my opinion, a completely different animal to insure. You got a whole different risk set involved with that.
Yeah.
Really,
Well, let's talk about those.
Yeah,
What are some of
absolutely.
those that are unique to home gyms?
So home gyms, I mean, so let's talk about your homeowner's insurance. Okay.
Mhm.
They're not going to touch this with a 10-foot pole.
Right. That's what we tell people.
Yeah. That's no way. So if you have your gym equipment, anything of that nature, do not put that on your homeowner's policy. Because if something bad happens, they ain't paying no matter what.
Even if it's not a business, are you meaning just as an item or an asset that you have separately, or
they're gonna string you up with this equipment's been used for commercial gain, for commercial money. You're making money off it, so this ain't.
got it? Yeah,
This is not a personal asset; it's a corporate asset. Right?
Yep.
So that's how that looks now. So with a home gym, you definitely want a policy that does not have that designated premise exclusion, because you're going to be running up and down the sidewalk. You're going to be, doing the damn thing as far as that stuff goes. You don't want that on the policy for sure. I would assume, correct me if I'm wrong here, guys, I would assume like the trainers and stuff that that train at these gyms is going to be the homeowners. Do you see that? Is that the lion's share? Do they have other trainers coming in to instruct movement? How does all that look?
I think currently right now, that's the standard. It's not impossible, and we've seen talks of that with some of the affiliates, but right now, currently anybody that is training and running their transactions through the app are also the gym owner.
Okay.
Yeah. I will say I have been approached by and worked with trainers myself that come and have used my space, and I've always required them to hold their own insurance policy.
Love it.
In addition to, my insurance, actually, I got through you guys, and I've been a customer for a few years now. Only, as I understand it, I can only insure them through my policy if they essentially work for me.
Yeah.
But I don't want that arrangement. It's not an arrangement that I want. So I mandate, if I'm going to work with a personal trainer to use my space, to have their own policy, and a $2 million policy at that.
Yeah, 100%. And on that policy, they're going to have to list your LLC, whatever you're set up as the additional insured and certificate holder.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what this means. So if I'm subleasing out XYZ trainer, they're running their people through movement. Someone gets banged up at my facility that I subleased out, and lawsuit starts flying. With that additional insured clause, that means his insurance company is picking up all my legal bills.
Right.
So let's talk about trainers for a minute. If you guys want to have trainers start coming in to give you a shot in the arm, or you got other stuff going on, whatever, life gets busy, awesome. Devil's in the details. So best practices are background check for sure. As far as certifications go, we are super, super flexible on that. ACE, NASM, CSCS, competitive shake weight. I don't give a shit as long as they're certified.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So we require accredited certifications. So certifications that come from an accreditation.
Yep.
Perfect.
Awesome.
For anybody training there, we have to have that on file. Yeah.
Yes. If they want to train through GoRx under the GoRx umbrella, affiliate umbrella, they have to have that certification to train.
Mm-hmm. Now so these trainers that you're subleasing out to, are we putting contracts in place of your scope of work, your time, what I'm charging, type deal?
Yeah. So to be clear, this is not something that comes up often. Right. This is something that people have brought up, and this is something I've dealt with. Yes, I require a contract. Absolutely. With an indemnification clause, you know, and including all that. Absolutely.
Music to my ears.
Yeah. We coach people that have brought this up, that these are the steps that you need to take. And quite frankly, we learned this from you in our conversations, which is why we wanted to bring you into our podcast so we could share these insights with others.
Okay. Perfect. Well, let's talk about corporate veils and setting up all the things, right? So when you have an LLC, corporation, whatever set up, all your money gets ran through that. If someone gets injured and you get sued, they can only go after that corporation's assets. They can't come after your pension, your vehicle, your wardrobe, any of that stuff. So that's a big deal. Now let's switch gears for a minute and talk about like the assets of the corporation. So we have, your matting, your weights, your rigs, all that stuff. So that would need to be insured underneath the commercial policy as well. As we touched on 2 seconds ago, that's a corporate asset now. Now, with a lot of the claims we get into that, like a rig fails or a rope fails or something like that, on my template section on my website, there's a PDF of, okay, monthly is perfect, quarterly is perfect. I'm checking the welds on my rig. I'm checking the bolts on the rig. I'm making sure my ropes are solid, my rings are solid. That's just best practices where if we get sued for negligence that, they didn't maintain their equipment, that's going to be hard for an attorney to string us up when it's all documented. Okay.
So some sort of routine check is something that you would want to document, have a sign off from basically the owner, who, maybe myself, right? If I own the gym, then just sign off that it was checked at whatever date.
Yep. Yeah. And even if you want to go, up and over, take pictures. That way it's dated. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Everything's good to go. I had, it was before the Rona set in. I had a gym in California. They were a home-based gym, and they got sued by the neighbors for running a commercial gym out of their home. And it got to the point, I shouldn't laugh, but it got to the point where this guy would literally be standing out on his lawn screaming at these members, running up and down the road, calling them all these obscenities. He sent me a video of it. It was pretty funny, but so this dude sued, and we picked up that defense cost. He was good with zoning. He was good with the city, all the things. So this guy was just trying to be a jerk, making this guy's life hell, and it got squashed because all I's are dotted and T's were checked.
So just a dismissed suit. It just ended up having to be, having to at least be litigated to that.
It's just a big headache for him too. I mean, we ate about $5,000 in defense costs for him just to get all the letters and all that crap going for him.
Yeah.
So.
And what was their basis?
It was a public nuisance. That was the suit. It was a public nuisance.
Yeah.
And he ain't doing 4 a.m. WODs. He's doing, 8 o'clock in the morning, and he shuts her down at 5 at night. You know how it is.
Yeah. Well, and one thing that we do when we talk to prospects or our affiliates and everything is we say, talk to your neighbors, let them know, be transparent with your neighbors, your HOA, everybody in your community that you think will be affected by it, because we don't want to run into these situations and we'd like to get in front of those. And then also it creates that relationship where maybe that neighbor will come by and be like, hey, instead of just getting mad or, submitting a lawsuit, we'll come by and say, hey, you guys were kind of loud this morning. Could you, do something to mitigate that?
Right.
Yep. And the very first thing we say before you do anything, before you file for an LLC or call your insurance provider, is to make sure that you're good, in the local zoning. You call that your local village and you find out their take on home-based businesses, what stipulations are involved, and you comply with that. You address your HOA's concerns in your own business plan when you bring that to their attention to request permission if they're, against home-based businesses. That these are the things that you are, like you said, crossing your T's, dotting your I's. You're doing your homework as you, progress through your Microgym startup journey.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, those are like the biggest hurdles getting this thing up out of the hole is a little thing called compliance.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. It'd be interesting to, hear some of your people talk with, like you say, with HOAs and stuff too, because that could be some rough waters to negotiate as well. Lots of moving parts with those things.
Lots. Yeah. We dive into. I dive in personally to bylaws all the time. I'm looking into bylaws. I'm reading. I will say I will never live in a place with a HOA. Like, not happening after seeing all these bylaws. But it's achievable. It's doable. Like, you can. Now, it doesn't mean that it's always going to be this harmonic relationship between you and your HOA. But if you're upfront with them, you address their concerns, you comply with their concerns, and are constantly talking to your neighbors, like, you are doing the things that you need to do to mitigate your risk, to maintain a harmonious relationship within the community. It is achievable. It's just, it can be a headache. 100%.
Yeah, big time. What else do I want to talk about?
Let's
talk about kind of mitigating risk. Sorry, Andrew, I just cut you off.
Yeah. Like, so people that reach out, they love the idea, they love the concept. They're generally excited that this could be a vessel that they tap into this entrepreneurial drive that they have. They're concerned about things like risk, insurance, liability. Talk to us about some of the things that they can do to alleviate those concerns that can, safeguard them as they, undertake or even explore whether they're going to pursue a microgym, a home-based microgym.
So my advice would be, so our first line of defense is a waiver, right? Mm-hmm. So every state in our country has different waiver protocol. So first things first, spend a couple $100 on an attorney to have you in compliance with your state XYZ indemnification, assumption of risk, expression of risk. Every state's different with that crap. So spend a couple bucks on getting a waiver set up. Don't use your old gym's waiver. That's the best money you can throw starting this thing out, right? Mm-hmm. So that would be number one. Number two, have a good business model, have a good business plan. Like I say, when you're looking, if you go through me or wherever, for insurance, you need to pay attention to those freaking exclusions. You need to be educated on what you're buying. Cheap insurance is not cheap at the end of the day. It's not. I would also suggest too, we touched on this before, and I'll say it again, I cannot stress how important it is to get background checks done on trainers. It's at the end of the day, they're representing your brand, your business, and it's good to know up front, like what you say, getting ahead of things. It's good to know if, they're on the sexual offenders registry, if they're a felon, whatever it is. That's going to be huge.
And what's an easy way to do that? Where can people go to get an affordable background check?
So there's a link on my website. They're like $15 per background check per year. You can go to the local police department. Those are kind of expensive. Depends on how far down the rabbit hole you want to go. So with us, we check the National Sex Offenders Registry, and if they're a felon, and that's about it. If you are training minors, that's great. Have a section on your waiver where mom and dad can sign off for little Johnny. So let's say my son's 17, football season's done. I want to keep him active, and there's a home gym right up the street from me. It works. So if he drives himself up there, great. If he's not drivable and I drive him up there, great. If you want to leave him there, that's fine. And come back and pick him up, that's fine. I don't want us gym owners driving little Johnny home. That dog ain't going to hunt. Mm-hmm. No how, no way.
Yep.
Okay. It wouldn't be a bad idea with, like, I get some claims come across my desk that are like sexual, where people feel trainers are a little bit too touchy-feely, and we've had video footage of them totally doing their job, totally not crossing any lines or any boundaries, but they feel that their bubble got invaded or whatever. Cameras aren't a bad idea
Okay.
at all.
I was just going to ask. Cameras,
Yep.
yes, no.
Yeah, they're not a bad idea at all.
Awesome. Yep.
And that'd be good too, where, you know, we've some of the stories. We had this poor guy, he was doing max split jerk, and his freaking knee blew out on him. Like, made it boom, walking out. And he went down like a sack of potatoes. And watching that was just absolutely horrifying. And my gym owner called me up and he's like, yeah, I got the footage. And, you know, he was just going hard. And was that, because I was asking, you know, was the floor buckled, or was it something like the facility that made this happen? And it was just a freak deal, right? He didn't sue or anything like that, but it's just good to err on the side of caution, especially with this freaking sue happy environment we live in is getting out of control. So yeah, cameras, that's good money to throw at your gym for sure.
What is some advice that you would provide people when onboarding new clients? What are some of the things that a microgym, a home-based microgym owner and trainer should go through on their onboarding process?
You know, the beauty of being an entrepreneur and the beauty of this business model is you get to choose who you want to train. If you don't feel they're a good fit, sorry, I can't help you out. So I've had experiences in the past where we have had clients that have become like super drama in the community, always talking shit on the trainer or Sally Sue or whatever, just becomes a problem. And I'll get my gym owners coming, look, like, I don't know how to get in front of this. I don't want to get sued for discrimination. How do I get out of this? So what I've been telling my herd is, if it becomes like that, or if they got like this crazy BO and people don't like being around it or whatever, just say, hey, look, this is what we're doing. I got to put you on a personal training platform. It's going to cost this much a month. How would you like to proceed? So usually just price them out of it. That has huge success with that. Yeah, I would say be picky on who you want to train. It's your ship. Who do you want on your ship? You want good people on your ship, right? And those good customers are going to give you good referrals. So that would be my 2 cents, dude, for sure.
Love it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I got to tell you, I have this Cocker Spaniel. Her name is Annie, and she is life. I love that dog more than anything. That being said, keep your dogs out of the gym, pretty please, and thank you.
I love that transition. That was great.
Yeah.
No animals.
Yes. Just go beast mode on the barbell, and that's it. Keep the frickin' dogs out of the gym. I was just telling Andrew I had a claim this week. Gal was rolling out on the foam roller, and the dog bit her in the frickin' face.
Jeez.
Boom. And of course she's like, hey, Annie, settle down.
There she is.
There she is.
She's like, you're
There's
talking
Annie
about
right
me.
there.
You
said my name.
Man? So I can't stress that enough. It's a distraction. I know it's part of the culture. I get it. But pro tip, leave the dog in the house.
Makes sense.
So let's talk about, like, holidays are right around the corner. Let's talk about that. So if, you guys want to do like a Christmas party or Friendsgiving or Thanksgiving or whatever, great. Here's the caveat. If you do that, it's called host liability. It's already built into the program. Devil's in the details again. So if you start charging your members to come in for food and drink, now it's excluded. Now that needs to be on a special event policy. If you do not charge, just do a potluck, BYOB, whatever, that is included in the policy.
Okay.
Okay. That's good to know.
No cover charge for something like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
But if they're a paying member of your gym, can they catch? Is there a catch-all there that they might say they might exclude the event if they're they've got a monthly membership, and then you invite them in a potluck? You're still safe. Yep.
That's a very good question. So the fine line on that is if, okay, we're getting together for Black Friday and we're going to have drinks and food. It's $20 a head if you want to come in. That's where it gets kicked out of the program.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Versus come on in, bring your favorite appetizer, let's hang around.
What about if that person brings a guest?
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, that's perfect. Good question. That's perfect.
Okay.
And that could be opportunity for more people to get into the fold too, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had a holiday party go bad. They decided to do drunk muscle ups, and his arm went through the ring, and he went down, and this went snap. So don't do that.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about like I don't think competitions are going to be a big deal in this business model, but if they are, okay, let's talk about
probably not, but we do have competition. I mean,
garage gym competition.
Okay.
Yep.
Just went on. So
if you're charging members to compete, that needs to be on a special event policy.
Okay.
So what I've been telling all of my gym owners, if you're going down the competition road, whatever you're charging these guys and gals to throw down, bump it up an extra $3 per person. And that'll pretty much offset my cost for that special event policy.
Okay. And then just basically just call your insurance provider and say, hey, I need a special event policy for this date, for this stuff. And then they'll give you a pricing and everything.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
I have some other questions I want to ask.
Let's do it.
Kind of around the questions that I want to ask are kind of around like finding your policy, right? Going out and seeking a policy, getting quotes and stuff like that. One thing that I notice when I'm looking at these different online quoting portals and stuff like that is you'll see these designations of weightlifting gym, fitness studio, personal fitness studio, these different designations. And when you enter in a certain designation, it will say, maybe my quote at the end, everything else will be the same except for those designations. My quote at the end might range from $70 a month to $180 a month, depending on which one I selected. What goes into that decision making? How does somebody that owns a microgym or owns a home gym, how do they designate themselves when it comes to finding that policy?
That is a very good question. So insurance companies, so commercial general liability insurance, they use class codes. So we got class codes for CrossFit gyms. We got class codes for F45. We got class codes for Orange Theory, class codes for yoga, class codes for jiu-jitsu, class codes for MMA. So that's how that looks. Now, so per that class code is you're going to get a different rate for each modality of fitness.
Okay.
For a garage gym, I just do like a functional fitness class code. That'll be the catch-all. Don't do yoga. Don't do Pilates because that's not what we're doing. It will be cheaper, but if the insurance carrier finds out what you're doing, if there's a claim, it's going to be a bad day.
Yep. But then let's see, if you have a functional fitness class code, those yoga classes or things like that might be, that might lead to a cheaper policy or whatever. Would that kind of fitness be covered under like a functional fitness style?
No.
So if you had an issue during a yoga class, that doesn't count as functional fitness.
Let's talk about that. So if we do the functional fitness class code, we buy that policy and we're offering yoga, we're offering Pilates, but that's not the lion's share of sales. It's incidental. That's fine. If you buy a yoga policy and we're a functional fitness studio, that's a problem. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So if it's a secondary aspect of your business and not your main revenue driver, then it shouldn't be an issue.
Yep.
Okay.
And that's the fine line again, the devil in the details.
Yep. Okay. That makes sense. Interesting. Okay. And then And then, yeah, from that standpoint, I mean, what size policy should somebody be looking for? I mean, $1 million, $2 million, $5 million, something like that.
As a startup gym, 2 to 3 million is more than ample.
Okay.
More than ample. Yeah.
That's generally what I've seen. I think 2 million is generally what I've seen as kind of the low
That's
end.
That's usually the industry standard. Policies.
Okay.
Trevor, for sure. Yep.
That makes sense.
Now, how flexible can these insurance companies be, right? Like a home-based micro gym is not going to have the kind of foot traffic or class sizes that a bigger box gym, CrossFit, F45, you name it.
Right.
Is there wiggle room in these policies if you're a micro gym that has 8 members that come in? And, what are some ways that you could potentially drive costs down, but still have that coverage that can give you that peace of mind?
Very good question. Again, you guys are killing it. So insurance companies rate, they go off gross annual sales or members. Those are the rate structures we use. So the higher your sales, the higher your members, higher premium. Lower sales, lower members, lower premium. So that's how that looks.
Awesome. So when a person starts shopping insurance, is that something they should provide? That's how rates geared. So let me tell you how this godforsaken game's played. So let's say I rate you at 50 members, 75,000 a year in sales. We're just forecasting because we don't know yet. Okay. And we get a slow start. We have landlord issues, whatever the case may be. And we end up doing 30 members, maybe 45K in sales, but I rated you up here. You ain't get to see a damn dime of that back at all. So on a startup, I am a huge fan of conservative. If we need to adjust it on renewal, let's do it. You're spending enough money getting this thing up out of the hole. You don't need to be throwing away premium dollars when you don't need to. So conservative is key coming up out of the hole on these policies for newbies, for sure.
Okay. That makes sense. What does that look like? Because you generally don't see that kind of as a designation or anything like that with when you're filling out things in an online portal. Would you just recommend then people just calling and actually talking to that insurance provider instead of trying to sign up that way?
Yeah, 100%. When you get all these insurance policies online with a faceless insurance company where you're not talking to somebody that really doesn't know your business model, which can really be a big problem down the road. Like, let's get in front of it. Let's have a conversation. I'm a home-based gym. I'm thinking about, 10 people at a class at a time max. What can you do to help me? What are you thinking? Type of stuff. So that would be the platform I would roll off of, knowing what I know about this industry.
Okay. That makes sense. And then when you're thinking of like your capacity for classes or whatever capacity for your gym in a home gym, I mean, generally you're probably not even going to see 10 people at a home gym capacity unless somebody has an epic home gym. But
like I'm at 3,
from that standpoint,
for example.
And so from that standpoint, for me, like setting up my home gym and getting my business going, I'm going to have a 2-person capacity basically at all times. Would there even be a policy that comes down to that level, or does it kind of just level out at a set number as the kind of baseline?
I think it'll level out as a set number as a baseline. And, 9 times out of 10 with these policies that you guys are going to be purchasing, they're going to be under what's called minimum premium. Okay. So that's how that's going to look for sure. Now, you gym owners too might want to kick the tires on maybe purchasing a work comp policy for yourselves. It's a little bit more money to have an owner on a work comp policy, but if you get hurt displaying a movement or something like that and you can't conduct your day-to-day business practices because you're injured, those work comp benefits would help you out on your medical bills and all that stuff too. So
what if you're the owner, but you're training by yourself and you're in your gym and you hurt yourself in your gym? All these home gym owners work out in their gym by themselves. Will workers' comp apply here?
No, because you're not in scope of work.
Yeah.
You can purchase what's called accident medical insurance,
Okay.
which is like a no-fault med pay. That would help out on that for sure. Or your health insurance, for whatever that's worth. Health insurance is shit, but but yeah, you'd be taking it on the chin on that guy for sure.
Okay.
On that situation.
Good to know. Vaughn, so where can people find you, and how can they leverage you as a resource?
Yeah, hop on my website, affiliateguard.info. Just fill out an application if you want to hit me up, Vaughn at affiliateguard.info. I'm super responsive, so anything I can do to help you guys out, we're here to help.
Yeah, I love it. You had mentioned there's templates and stuff like that on there.
Yeah, my template section on my website is gold, so hammer it out. We got waiver templates. We got all the things.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, lots of stuff on here. Sample kit area, sign-in sheet templates, and inspection stuff, and emergency procedure templates. Yeah, that's great. I think that will, come in handy for anybody, but definitely for home gym owners and stuff like that are trying to just, put together ways to just mitigate that risk as much as possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And as we coach people, what are some things that we should focus on when we recommend them to reach out to you? Like, what are some things that you would like information on hand when they reach out to make the conversation easier?
Yeah, we just need what the LLC looks like, the name of that, address, how much equipment coverage they need, what they're thinking on members, if they're doing any like sports specific training stuff.
This is, I know that you've said this in the past, and your confidence in us has been super motivating, but we get a lot of interest. There are a ton of people that want to see this as a successful model. And so having, connections like you to help educate these people that are really interested, and coming from like a good place, a lot of them are coming from like a good place. Like, I just want to help out my neighbor. I don't need to make a ton of money. Mm-hmm. It's not even really about making money. Like, I want to like recoup some of my cost. But it's people that, and in our surveys, literally one of the most the most frequently selected. Yeah. Thank you. I'm having a hard time. Reasons for starting a microgym is because they want to open it up to their neighbors. They want to,
that's so cool.
Make it accessible to their neighborhood. And so it's conversations like these that people will fear it less, right? And now you're equipped with information. That knowledge is power. That's an old saying. With that information in hand, like, they can go forth and conquer. I had to say.
I love that. Man. I'm going to go off for a minute on how important it is to be physically active. When we got shut the fuck down during the Rona, how does that help anything or anybody?
Right.
Get off your ass and get out and go move.
Yep.
And I think it's so awesome that your community is just that, a community to help out their neighbors and do the good, right? That's awesome. I love helping people out like that. I do. Mm-hmm. That's the good work. It really is.
Yeah, we love it. We were very intrigued to see that be one of the higher selected, responses when we did that survey, was because we kind of thought maybe it was going to be a side hustle thing, or somebody trying to change their career or something like that, or even just expand their fitness career. And with that, when we noticed that, we were like, okay, this is the community-based thing that we thought we were trying to build. And so we knew we could continue down that path and create that and try to just build that community.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Have you considered at all having somebody go to Home Gym Con, the convention out in Indiana next year?
No, when's this? Let me write this down.
That's what is that, Andrew? Is
it
April?
It's April. I think it's April 27th. I'm actually was talking to
Something
Jake.
like
He's
that,
the organizer of it. If you want to come or send someone and chill at our booth, I'm there. It's a frequently asked question. Having someone on the team, the affiliate card team, would be huge value add to the community at that event. So
That's awesome.
Event information. I'm on the web's homegymcon.com. We'll shoot you a note with it. I think it's April 27th.
What are they whacking for a booth out there?
What are they for a booth?
What are they charging for a booth?
Oh, charging. I think it's for 10 by 10. And they are still looking for more vendors to join. I think most of their floor is booked. If you check out homegymcon.com and you look at the vendors, I mean, you've got Rogue now there, Bridge Built is going, Rep is going, Surplus Strength, Bells of Steel, some Titan Fitness, Giant, Sorinex, AbMat. So you've got players in the home gym inspired and fitness inspired gym equipment manufacturers. Man, that's a mouthful.
That's cool.
Going to this event. It's only year number 2.
Any of your flock looking for funding?
Well, we're looking funding. So, no, people haven't reached out to us, but it's not bad information to have. So what do you got?
I'm going to introduce you to John Briggs at Insight Tax, and I'm also going to introduce you to Clayton Ferrier at Rig Equip Finance.
Let's go.
Clayton's the man. I've been doing business with him since like 2009. And he's so much better than the freaking SBA for working capital and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
love it. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome. We haven't necessarily had people ask us that question when it comes to like prospects, because most of the people that come to us, they already have a garage gym, but it does make sense that if somebody had that aspiration or was just a trainer at a big box gym, but they have the space, maybe they just need that little bit of capital to get them to bring their business home.
What would it look like? Outfit in a garage is what? Couple $5,000, couple $10,000 for badass setup.
Yeah. For a badass setup.
You're looking. Yeah. I think 10 would be more than enough.
So I get 6 fatalities a year coming across my desk. Okay.
Wow.
If you don't have an AED, you buy one. That should be right after your waiver or whatever. That needs to happen. There are 15 states. It's on my website. There's 15 states where it's state law. If you have a physical fitness facility, you have to have a defibrillator. So, let's talk about the shittiest claim ever, a fatality.
Yep.
So you get an individual that has a sudden cardiac arrest. They go down. You deploy your defibrillator. You perform CPR. You call 911, and paramedics come and scoop them up and take them to the hospital. God forbid if it's their time to go home and they do not make it, you are insulated with Good Samaritan law where you cannot get sued for wrongful death. Should this happen and you do not have a defibrillator, especially in the state that it's law, you might as well put your head in between your legs and kiss your ass goodbye. So that's a thing. Defibrillators are a thing. So I cannot preach that enough.
So I've spent many hours researching, defibrillators. I've looked into programs or trying to find programs that could drive costs down. One of the biggest concerns for a home gym owner is costs. Like, what is it going to cost me to actually open up a micro gym? And defibrillators are not cheap, right? They're not cheap they're not cheap medical device. Where and how, are there any ways that you can find cheaper AEDs? Are there any marketplaces, funds that you're aware of that we could share with others when searching for an AED?
So
like, I call hospitals, fire stations, police stations,
Yeah, you got a couple different options. You go to fire department, ask who their vendors are, might get a deal. I have a lot of gyms that they'll have first responders in their communities, and they just have a good hook on them. We have partnered with Allied. What is it? I'm sorry, AED Superstore, and it's a pretty nice Philips AED. It's like $900 every
Okay.
3 years. You need
That's
to
not
switch
bad.
out the pads.
Okay.
They
Yeah,
said the
I
batteries.
see you have two of them on here.
Yeah,
the Philip Heart Start and then the Heart Sign
yeah, those have been
Samaritan.
pretty good ones. You get, is it Cintas that rents those AEDs out? It's like $100 a month, and it's a scam. These things are freaking bulletproof, and we're going to come every month and make sure your AED's good. They're just, don't go down that road. You're wasting money.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Buy one, just buy one. If you go down the refurbished road, I don't know. If it was me, I wouldn't skimp on that piece of equipment because
Sure. Yeah.
I'm telling you guys, the last thing you're going to think about is how much my defibrillator was if someone went down.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, it does make sense. Yeah, I'm seeing, I mean, when I just search Google for AED machine, I'm seeing, $2,000, $3,000 prices and stuff like that. I do see some that range down into the 1500s and 800s or so, but so that's a good resource. I do like the fact that you have some discount codes and stuff like that on there for these.
Oh yeah.
That's great. Yeah, when it comes to AEDs and stuff like that, do you require your gyms to have them when somebody's signing a policy or when you're offering policies, or is that like hey, I highly recommend this because this is what you need?
it's scripture with me. If you're on my books and if you don't have one, I don't cover.
Makes
Wrongful
sense.
death suits are the shittiest thing ever, and I refuse to go down that road anymore. So,
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean,
yeah.
I can understand that. That's great information. I really, I think I do remember us talking about AEDs in our first
Sure.
Explain.
Yeah. My website is affiliateguard.info. My personal email is vaughn@affiliateguard.info. If you guys got questions, I got answers.
Let's go.
Cool. Well, Vaughn, I mean, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. You're a wealth of information.
Really
We really appreciate you even taking time out of
Thanks
your
for
day.
having me on, guys. Really appreciate the time.
This has been the LFGRX podcast. You guys can find us at gorxfitness.com, at gorxfitness on Instagram, Facebook, gorxfitness and everything. My email is trevor@gorxfitness. Andrew's is andrew@gorxfitness. And so if you ever have questions or anything like that for anything Microgym related, just hit us up. We're happy to talk to you, happy to answer questions, happy to point you in the right direction towards industry experts like Vaughn himself or anybody else. And so please like, rate, subscribe, share this podcast. This is going to be a very important episode for people trying to understand and mitigate risk and get an understanding of the fitness industry and fitness insurance industry.